Hey guys, apparently GM's 6.2 liter is stranding people for weeks because the engines are just failing out of nowhere. So let's talk about that today. Guys, let's talk about the 6.2 liters that are failing like crazy. Of course, right after I buy my vehicle with the 6.2 liter V8, this article from The Drive drops that tells us that GM 6.2 liter V8s are stranding owners for weeks. Without vehicles because apparently they don't have engines to put in these cars. The NHTSA apparently has launched an investigation that impacts 877,710 of these GM vehicles with these 6.2 liter V8s. These impact the L87 engine code, which is the 6.2 liter, which is the one we have in my wife's Cadillac Escalade. These are engines produced between 2019 and 2024. Of course, we know that there are ongoing issues even into 2025, it seems like. So it's pretty interesting. It seems like there's catastrophic engine failures that are happening. So we all in the GM world know that the V8s have this displacement on demand, and that has caused some failed lifters. But apparently there's also some bearing failures that who knows if they're actually related or not. I'm sure that you could argue that whenever a camshaft is destroyed, that material can be passed through the oil passages into the camshaft, into the crankshaft bearings, and just destroy all the bearings in the engine. Of course, GM's process for taking care of this issue is not to pull the engine out and rebuild it, but to actually replace the engine. Apparently, whenever these failures are happening on these 6.2 liters, they are sudden and they are without warning. They just lock up. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced that or not, but I'll link to the article below in the show notes. This has caused a major impact on the commercial use of the 6.2 liter V8. That's something that I haven't thought of before, but like in the limousine service, Cadillac Escalades, Chevy Suburbans, GMC Yukons are heavily relied upon as luxury vehicles for limousine transportation. And that is a major issue for these customers, especially if their engines go down and they are without their vehicle for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks because there simply are no parts. Apparently GM does not have enough parts in the pipeline to support the number of 6.2s that are either being produced new or that need to be replaced. And so this is a pretty big deal. So some of the other fleet operators that are impacted, particularly with the pickup trucks, are operators who use the 6.2 liter for towing heavier loads, other sorts of things that you would use a pickup truck for, half-ton pickup truck. These guys are highly impacted by their trucks being down. Now, I know a lot of us think that people use 3/4 ton trucks or 1-ton trucks whenever they're used in a commercial setting. But a lot of folks still use a half-ton truck for these kinds of things. Maybe it's just project management. Maybe they're hauling some lighter loads and they're using the half-ton to save a little bit of money. I'm not sure. But a 6.2 being down in a fleet setting is a horrible situation for those operators. So this is a big deal. The Drive indicates that there is a parts shortage to get new engines in the pipeline in order to get the parts to fix the engines and that sort of. Of course, our 2019 Cadillac Escalade hasn't had this problem. Of course, we've only owned it a little while, and this engine has just over 100,000 miles. I think less than 101,000 miles, so it's pretty low mileage Escalade. But we are aware that this situation may pop up basically at any time. I'm really interested to hear from you guys. Have any of you experienced this catastrophic engine failure with the 6.2 liter? Maybe even the 5.3 is impacted to some degree. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm specifically asking about the 6.2. I've got a little skin in the game because I own a 2019 6.2 in our Cadillac Escalade. So GM does have a response to the NHTSA's report or investigation. GM has given their full support that they are complying with the investigation, that they want the customer to be satisfied and to try to find a resolution to this problem. I know that we all probably have our theories as to what's going on. Why are these engines failing? You know, is it due to displacement on demand? Is it due to, like Toyota just had a massive issue with their V6 engines that they put in the Tundras because there was machining material left over? Is that what's going on? I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I don't think that that's the issue. I think this is just my personal opinion based on what I've read and talking to a few people who've experienced these failures. This is probably going back to the camshafts and the lifters. So I don't know why, but in the industry, like not just GM, but across the whole industry, going into the hot rod industry, I started hearing about camshaft and lifter failures just kind of across the board several years ago, and it doesn't seem like it's gotten a lot better. Maybe the reporting is just more widespread. Maybe camshaft failures on relatively new engines has been an ongoing issue. I know that Dodge and their 6.4 liter V8s have had issues. I know that GM has had issues. I know that hot rodding, like old school hot rods, have had issues with camshafts and flat tappet lifters. It just seems like a lot of issues around the camshafts and the lifters, whether it's hydraulic, whether it's rollers, whether it's flat tappet, whatever. It seems like there's multiple issues going on. So like in my mind, and I'm by no means a mechanic, I'm not scientific in this regard or anything, I'm just trying to go based off of what I've seen. We've got an issue with keeping camshafts and lifters together. Displacement on demand on these particular GM V8s I know is an issue. The lifters literally turn off to go into the V4 mode or the displacement on demand mode, and sometimes they don't come back. The lifter collapses, they don't charge back up for whatever reason, and they eat the cam. And so is that the only issue that's going on? Who knows? So guys, let me know down in the comments below what you think is going on. Let me know if you had any personal experience. Let me know what you think. I've read that I read a mechanic online who posted, supposedly a mechanic, right? And he suggested running 5W30 in these engines instead of the 0W20. That 0W20 oil is too thin of viscosity. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. The recommended oil weight is 0W20 in these 6.2s. So does changing oil weight make a difference? I don't know. Again, just as a disclaimer, I'm not a mechanic, I'm not an engineer, I'm just an owner trying to figure this out on his own and hoping to pass the word around. Please read the article from the drive down below, and as I find out more information, if you guys are interested, I'll pass it on. So thank you guys so much. I hope y'all have an awesome day. Thanks.